I, for myself, had to think about why am I doing this? Who told me? Can I stop? Do I want to stop? If I believe that someone says that I can only do this, and then I'm doing it, but then I like it, but then now I'm mad because someone said it's all I could do. You see that? What do I do with this? You know what I mean? But I had this really kind of complex thought about homemaking.
Yeah.
You know?
Let your parent heart glow. Let's grow as we go.
So I want to go back. You talked about when you were a teacher and the moms would come in, the tennis and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
and you're like, must be nice. And, you know, what do you do all day? So let's talk about what do you do all day if you're a homemaker? What does that look like in terms of like the actual happenings? I mean, I know when, okay, I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead. I was like,
I mean, okay, so, and this is not prescriptive. I'm not saying this is what good homemaking looks like. This is just what how mine kind of looked like.
Shakes out.
Yeah. You know, I would get up. I'm looking back towards when my homeschooling years. I would get up and I would do some, you know, some reading, maybe some exercise, get some breakfast ready, and I would start, you know, getting people out of bed. And they were all younger at this point as well. So helping them get ready, but also not just getting ready, but working through, you know, the conversations. Why? You know, the tantrums, and teaching all the way in terms of how to progress and to express yourself. You know, so there was lots of meals. Of course, I was also doing lesson planning for the curriculum. I was also coordinating our household schedule in terms of who did what chores, when, why they needed to do that particular chore, because sometimes it was to teach something in particular, who needed to be picked up when and where, you know, and also being intentional about community engagement for myself, but also for my family to make sure that we were learning to and investing in our community, right? There's lots of read aloud, and you know, for us prayers and so forth. And that was just like one typical day. You know, there could be field trips, it could be hiking. And I'm sure on the outside it looks like just fluff and la la la. But the takeaway was that there was a lot of intentionality and purpose behind the choices that I made for our family.
I was like, but I did all of those things and work. You just have multiple brains, I think. And like, you just had to learn to kind of like turn on certain areas of your brain depending on where it is. But I think currently right now, yes, my day is just like a lot of art. Like it's a lot of the art of persuasion. It's just a lot of the art of persuasion, of constantly being like, this is what we're going to do. But why? Because you're raising your children to be, you know, to ask questions and
Critical
challenge and be
thinkers.
critical thinkers, you know, but you just would like them to be less critical with you.
Yeah.
Everybody is equal. Everybody is working really hard. But this idea that you could like just, the nice thing about working out in your own, like not parenting job, is that you can just go into your job and you can tell people sometimes if you're higher up, like, hey guys, we're having a meeting today at 3. Great. See you there. Right. Like, and then you could like sit down and be like, this is my project, and you're going to hit walls and things aren't going to go your way. But for the most part, you can navigate through that by yourself. But when you are homemaking small humans, and that is your job,
yes,
everything is a discussion. Like you're just constantly like, we're like SWAT or like special teams in like a war zone.
Vigilance.
Yes. Like when they're going to strike,
Yep.
you don't know, smells will trigger you.
There's no linear procedure.
There's not like, I'm going to come in, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to work on this project, I'm going to, you know, talk to my coworkers, and then I'm going to get up and I'm going to move on with my day.
Every day's a new day.
Every day is a new day, and what worked an hour ago might not work now. So I think but then that can also be, you know, but in those tiny moments is when they say the weird, funny things.
Yeah.
And you get to like, I think a definite silver lining of this lifestyle choice is just to be there for like the little bitty moments, you know, like the little that seem small at the time, but then in hindsight, you're like, oh, like we kept homeschooling, and I have a gap with a gap baby. So between my youngest and my middle, there's a 10-year gap and then a 12-year gap from my oldest to my youngest. And so one of the benefits while we continue to pursue home education was because I loved that they had that time together, where if we were all pursuing things outside of the home and only together in the evening, they were at a point where they were out in the evenings, like doing their own extracurricular activities. So they would have gone from school to their extracurricular activity, home by 9:30, into bed, right? And wouldn't have had a lot of cross paths with the baby. But there was a lot of sweet time where they had extended interaction. And so now my oldest, who's gone to college now and moved out of the home, but he and his youngest sibling still have a really sweet bond that I don't know would have been as deep given like what just life was like when he was 13, 14. But even people have been like, oh my gosh, their bond is so deep. Like it's so sweet. And I think that is, for whatever we might have lost in those choices, that was one thing we gained. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm in a new season.
Okay.
I just started a new season.
What's that?
In my stay at home, where I have been promoted.
Okay. Oh my goodness! Congratulations!
Wow.
So-
Cheers. Salute.
Cheers. So I'm really excited about my new venture, and that is called My Kids Go to School. So my husband hasn't said anything about like jobbing. So, and I'm not going to say it either. So I am in this like special little sparkly spot that I'm excited about, but I'm trying to be really gentle with myself and be protective of myself, because I learned from the tennis moms.
Okay.
I learned from them. So here's the thing. Now I did my duty with the children, and I did the homeschool, and I did the house managing with them, and now they go to school. I drop them off. So our mornings are a little bit like woo, and then I drop them off, right, and then it's like quiet. And so I just got promoted, so I'm not quite sure what I'm doing in it.
Okay.
You're
Obviously,
still developing your responsibilities.
yeah, I'm still figuring out quite exactly what my responsibilities are. But one of them is Blooming Horizons and working in that, and I love that work. But then also making sure that I'm not overdoing it at their schools and trying to find value in myself by working at the school. Meaning, I remember when I was teaching, there was like moms that just never left. Like they were there all day too. And I was like, you're not getting paid. But they were making copies, or then they would go and be a reader in the room, and then they would do this. And I thought, that's cool. But now that I'm in it, I'm like, but you also want to have some space. Who I am is not in what I do. That is not, I am going to help, and I'm going to help with whatever they need. And, but I'm not going to be putting 20 hours into that. And I don't mean like I don't support schools. Obviously I do. My kids go there, and I want to make sure that I am supporting them. But also I'm not running here and there. And now I'm just as exhausted as I was when they were little.
Yeah.
So if you are someone that's in this spot that I'm in, please comment. Like I just got promoted. I also do teach piano and voice lessons on the side as well. But I do have more time in my day.
It's great.
It's a blessing.
We've talked about catch that breath. I think it was in the neurospicy episode, but we need that moment. And so I would say lean into that. This is a great time to kind of take a moment and reevaluate, look at yourself, to set those goals, or to at least to envision, to set some intentions. Taking care of yourself is so that you don't experience profound burnout. So there may be homemakers or people who are thinking about this whole homemaking journey who have experienced that, or maybe you have not. I'm letting you know about it so that you won't be surprised if and when it happens to you. Not saying that it has to, but 2, so that you can take some precautions. And 3, if you have experienced burnout, know that it's not a character flaw. It's a reasonable consequence for going all in hard for
Yeah.
a long time. And so the fourth point is, if you find yourself there, hold space for you to walk up back and to reevaluate. I, for myself, had to think about why am I doing this? Who told me? Can I stop? Do I want to stop? If I believe that someone says that I can only do this, and then I'm doing it, but then I like it, but then now I'm mad because someone said it's all I can do. You see that? What do I do with this? So I was out of the kitchen for as much as I could without seeming or feeling negligent. You know what I mean? But I had this really kind of complex thought about homemaking. You know, so just something to think about, and to be working that out as you go through. How do I feel about this? Why am I doing it? It's because I enjoy it, because I know that there's value with it. Even if I don't enjoy it, do I see value and respect the work, right?
Yeah, that's good.
And let's also talk about the layer of colonized mind with that, right? Because I think that's part of all of what my whole tizzy was about. Do we homemake because it's prescribed for us? Do we believe that there's only one way that it can look, right? For it to be good or right? Well, who told you that? Who made you believe that? Do you believe it? Do you want to do things differently?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Does being a good mom only mean bringing to school homemade, naturally dyed cupcakes? Is that the only way? Or could you stop by the Costco and call it done and feel very good about, bring that in? You know what I'm saying? That's just a very kind of trivial example, but let's talk about that. Who says what it should look like to be operating in your home, to be managing your home, to be tending to your family, right?
I love what you said about, like, can you respect the work? You know what I mean? And if you're not like enjoying it, even if it's not like the most joyful thing, but is there value in the work? Because there's always, like, when you're working, there's always going to be days that you don't want to be there, but you value the work, you value the outcome. That was so good. And I think the other thing that plays into this idea of starting to ask questions of, like, why are we here? Who told me? Why is this? We'll circle back around to that idea of, like, the fair play book, and to that idea of equitable balance of everybody in the home, whoever is up and functional and able to follow an instruction. What are they contributing? Because I think the thing that was just mind blowing to me is that it takes 90 to 116 or 20 daily actions to keep a modern home moving forward.
I believe it.
And that blew my mind. And then you go, well, no wonder I'm tired if one person is trying to not only manage themselves and other people, and then these other invisible work things that need to happen, like feed the dog, give the dog water, scoop the kitty litter, like laundry, trash, dishes. Like, there's all those things that we kind of think about, but then there's a ton of tiny little jobs that, when unattended, build up to other things. I would say to put that into your questioning too. You know what I mean? Get the book, listen to the book, just get the cards, because she actually made a deck of cards with tasks like answering school emails is its own card unto itself. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a school, like backpacking backpacks at night, I'm just saying outside of your normal, like, food, laundry, cook, clean, like that sort of stuff.
What I'm hearing is, as she's talking about fair play, is that we need to do a book study on this. I think
that sounds good.
I think that's going to have to be, because I think we could do a whole.
We could really just deep dive
in that. If you are interested in that, please comment below, because I think we keep bringing it up. So I'm like, I think that's a sign that, because it's been transformative for us. And so even if you're like, what fair play, we're going to post a link so you can just read a little bit about it. And I even think they have like a YouTube. We'll put the YouTube link for, like, she does like a quick little summary about it.
It's just, for me as a homemaker, the question that always popped up in my head for years was, am I doing enough? Does this count? Is this worthwhile? And so the fair play cards, when I was able to stack out all the things that I was doing that I assume I was just supposed to do because I was a
Right.
homemaker. And I look at it, I'm like, you know, I see my investment because the card makes the invisible visible,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so, even if you don't have the cards, you know, make your own.
But she said that was a very delicate practice.
Yes.
Because it can lead to anger and bitterness.
Right. And so our goal is we don't want anyone angry or bitter. We want you empowered and encouraged. Okay.
Yes.
So, but also this idea that with homemaking, the fruit is long coming, right? And the fruit that you're working for, which is raising up tiny people to become fantastic, phenomenal human beings,
Yes.
supporting your spouse, right? The fruit of that tree, that seed that you're planting day to day, it's long coming. You're not going to see it for a long time. There will be whiffs, you know, of the fruit that's coming. You'll have moments where you kind of feel the hope. But so you need to understand that, right?
Yeah.
That's one big difference between working outside and in, and knowing that you're running a marathon. This is a long game. But setting, you know, benchmarks for yourself, recording and remembering purposes that you've set, right? Do
And
that.
if you're writing down, you know, at the beginning of the year, you know, write down, these are the things that this is my why, you know, and so when you're having those struggles, you can go back and look at that why list.
being able to learn how to navigate relationships, get along with people, but being able to think outside the box, to think
Yes.
of something new, of changing, of innovating, because you are allowed to embody your life. You're allowed to embody your own brand of home keeping, home making, home managing, being the person who's handling the stuff in your house, however you want to say it. You get to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's good.
I love it. So I think that's a great way to end it. So thanks for sitting with us today, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Blooming horizon, we're here to show in the highs and the lows. Let